today's instalment, I shall be turning attention to the pre-rock era American rock and roll from the mid to late 1950s. This is very much a companion to my recent video on rockabilly music, which you may also wish to check out, as both are closely linked. The thriving rockabilly scene in the southern states was a development of hillbilly and other genres, and the template was a rocking, primarily white vocalist simply backed by guitar, string bass and drums, whereas the rock and roll artists in this video arguably focus less on country roots and inspired by electric and jump blues, boogie woogie, jazz and gospel. Another distinction is that the instrumentation creeps in here over typical rockabilly, whereby the piano and saxophone are often the dominant sound, although electric guitar also came to prominence. Electric bass also tends to replace upright bass. Towards the end of the decade, rock and roll would encompass greater orchestration and finer production values, more of which later. Mirroring Sam Phillips' role as disc jockey and record producer in Memphis, pioneering the rockabilly sound, many of the forthcoming artists were championed by Alan Freed, a DJ and promoter broadcasting in Ohio and from 1954 in New York City. He popularised and possibly even coined the term rock and roll and staged the first ever major rock and roll concert, the Moondog Coronation Ball in 1952 at the Cleveland Arena. We begin with three major rock and roll artists, Chuck Berry, Little Richard and Fats Domino, who all came out of the black rhythm and blues tradition and are not usually classed as rockabilly. Nicknamed the father of rock and roll, guitarist Chuck Berry, recording out of Chess Studios in Chicago, honed electric R&B elements that made rock and roll distinctive with songs such as Maybelline, Roll Over Beethoven, Rock and Roll Music and Johnny B. Good, recorded between 1955 to 8. Writing lyrics which focused on teenage life and consumerism and developing a musical style that included guitar solos and showmanship, Berry was a major influence on popular music's rock era of the mid-60s onwards. His guitar work became a blueprint for rock and roll, influencing later rock royalty the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Beach Boys and countless others. Next in this trio, and firmly rooted in the gospel tradition, is the showman pianist Little Richard, who gigged and recorded for years with his band before breaking through with Tutti Frutti in 1955, his first charting single. Although the song is driven by Richard's piano and powerhouse voice, the saxophone is the lead sound and solo. This is his first album from March 1957, compiling many of his hit singles and B-sides from 1955 to 6, including Tutti Frutti, Long Tall Sally, Slippin' and Sliding, Rip It Up, Jenny Jenny and Ready Teddy. Last in this trinity is the comparatively shy Fats Domino, described by Elvis as the real king of rock and roll. A gifted pianist, Domino came from a big band tradition, having played in a New Orleans jazz and R&B band since 1947. His rolling piano style brought him attention and he signed to the Imperial Records label in 1949. His first major recording, The Fat Man, sold 1 million copies by 1951 and led to a series of transatlantic hits including Ain't That a Shame, Blueberry Hill, Blue Monday, Jambalaya, I'm Walking and Be My Guest. Like Little Richard, Fats Domino, despite his keyboard prowess, made notable use of saxophones and horns on his records without a prominent guitar sound. Redressing that somewhat is a couple of rock and roll songwriter guitarists. Firstly, here's Buddy Holly. This is his album from 1958, featuring Holly's 4 hit singles released in 1957 on the Coral label: Words of Love, Peggy Sue, I'm Gonna Love You Too and Rave On. Backed by his regular guitar band the Crickets, this was officially credited to Buddy Holly alone and is deemed his first solo album. Although Holly's sound was rooted in rockabilly, he developed into a mainstream rock and roll artist, added orchestration and pushed the genre arguably more than any other as a songwriter and arranger. By 1958 he was also recording heartfelt ballads, incorporating saxophone, harps and celeste to his sound and adding strings on classic tracks such as Raining in My Heart, True Love Ways and It Doesn't Matter Anymore. Forever linked to Holly is the guitarist Ritchie Valens, who tragically died while touring in February 1959 alongside Holly in a plane crash just 8 months after his breakthrough. This has become known as the day the music died. This is his first UK compilation, collecting his memorable singles Donna, La Bamba and Come On Let's Go. Now we move to Bobby Vee, whose career in a quirk of fate started as a result of the airplane tragedy. To fulfil the Buddy Holly tour contract, the organisers booked Vee and his band, modelled on Holly's style, to fill the next date on their concert tour. It proved a success and earned Vee a record deal. Vee was actually scheduled to attend the concert as a fan that night. His hits included Rubber Ball, Take Care of My Baby and The Night Has a Thousand Eyes. In 1962, V teamed up with the Crickets, recording an album containing 3 Buddy Holly covers. The following year, he recorded this highly respected and personal tribute album to the musician who had heavily inspired him and was sadly destined to be the catalyst to his recording career. Next up is teenage rock and roll sensation Brenda Lee, nicknamed Little Miss Dynamite. Signed to Decca in 1956, she appeared on package tours throughout 1957 alongside rockers Bill Haley and Ricky Nelson. Hits swiftly followed, including Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree, Let's Jump the Broomstick, Sweet Nothings and the haunting ballad I'm Sorry. This 1963 UK compilation collects the early hits that made her famous, the majority recorded in 1957 and 58. We move nicely on to Ricky Nelson, who had shared the bill with Brenda Lee in 1957 and started recording that same year. This album from 1958 includes his earliest recording, Don't Leave Me This Way, and covers songs by Fats Domino, Willie Dixon and Roy Orbison. It also features the single Poor Little Fool, which became the first ever #1 on the newly formed Billboard Hot 100 in August 1958. Nelson's vocal was accompanied by Elvis' regular backing singers, the Jordanaires. We now reach a duo, the harmonious Everly Brothers, Don and Phil, a mega-selling rock and roll act in the late 1950s, early 60s, scoring numerous transatlantic top 10 hits such as Bye Bye Love, Bird Dog, When Will I Be Loved, Till I Kiss You, Problems, Lucille, Crying in the Rain, and their 3 big #1s, Wake Up Little Susie, All I Have to Do Is Dream, and Kathy's Clown. This brilliant 1959 compilation shown here collects all those major 50s singles. Next is rocker Freddie Cannon, a singer and guitarist from the Boston suburbs. This is his debut LP, recorded in 1959, which was a UK #1, being the first ever rock and roll album to reach #1 on the British albums charts. It includes his version of Kansas City, later recorded by the Beatles, and no less than 5 singles, his first 5 including his biggest hits Tallahassee Lassie and Way Down Yonder in New Orleans, the first ever record in the rock era to have a full brass section. Both were certified gold records. If you'll excuse the pun, we now move from coast to coast to Los Angeles vocal group The Coasters. Formed in 1955, this rock and roll quartet recorded a string of hit singles in the late 50s. This compilation from 1959 features all their bestsellers, including a run of 6 Billboard Top 10 hits such as Charlie Brown, Poison Ivy, Searchin', and their frantic #1 Yakety Yak. Finally, we come to one of the most successful and beloved rockers, Roy Orbison, another early pioneer at Sun Studios, but who in fact struggled to find hits in the mid to late 50s. He switched labels a couple of times and landed at Monument in 1959, where his career took off, having changed both his musical style and his voice since his fledgling rock recordings at Sun and RCA. He sought a polished, professional sound, adding full strings, which brought a new splendour to rock just as the 1950s rock and roll era was winding down. His debut LP appeared as late as 1961, but included 3 charting singles, Blue Angel, I'm Hurtin', and Only the Lonely, the first of his 3 UK #1s. From 1959 to 1963, Orbison was the top-selling American artist, even eclipsing his old Sun friend Elvis Presley. And that brings to an end my brief run-through look at some key rock and roll artists and records from the 1950s. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.